Hey, welcome to Quick Looks at the Casual Hour. My name is Bobby. Joining me today, the gamer on the go, Chase Kinnicky, and we're going to be checking out Slime Rancher 2. I am so excited
to show slimes.
Let's check out some slimes. Chase, I know that you know a little bit about this game. I have put about 11 hours into it, so I will be telling you more about this game today. But what do you know?
I know that Slime Rancher 2 is a first-person life simulation adventure game, but I also know that it's developed by Monomi Park, who I believe have just made this and the first game. And this thing came out September 22nd of 2022. Other than that, I know a little bit about the first Slime Rancher.
Yeah.
But I never played it. But this, I hear that you're kind of going down the same hole that you went on with Subnautica, where you hadn't played the original, and then the second one was about to come out, and you're like, oh, that looks cool, maybe I should play the first one, and then you played way too much of the first one, and now the second one's out, and you're going through the cycle again. Is that about accurate?
Yeah, you've got me pegged. I'm a big sicko. I will come right out and tell you this is a fantastic video game. Slime Rancher, overwhelmingly positive review. It's a very big game for a lot of folks, and I have just found myself in love with this first early access look at Slime Rancher 2. It is Slime Rancher.
Access.
Yeah, this is early access.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, early access right now for Slime Rancher 2. They have put you over here on Rainbow Island, and they start you off in an area called the Conservatory. And Slime Rancher is about, well, doing just that, ranching slimes. You're going to go out into the world and find slimes that you can bring back and feed them.
Wait, it's been literal minutes and I've seen 0 slimes.
Yeah, that's because I'm a smart person, Chase, and I have raised my slimes in areas that best fit their needs. So this conservatory area that you're in, when you first start the game, they're going to give you 2 spots that you can use. When you come up to an area like this, you can customize each one of these plots to be either a garden, a coop, or an area for a cage for slimes. You're going to be feeding the slimes, and when they eat what they like, they will give you a plort, and that's what these are here. And this is the plort market. You can see that certain plorts are worth more each day and others go down, and then you feed them in here. So I've kept my main area as just like, this is where all the stuff I need to feed my slimes are. So let's go take a look at some.
Okay. Can I ask, what do you put in a coop if you're not putting slimes in it?
Chickens. So I've got a few different types of birds up here. So I've got a sea hen. I've got a stony hen. There's some roosters in there. You can even see some smaller little ones here. Inside here, you can add things like higher walls, spring grass, a vitamizer, and then an elder collector. So if you do not take care of getting them to the slimes fast enough, you can see here that I've got a spot now that will automatically go in here and just pull out those, so I can take care of that. The game's pretty simple. You are sucking in things with your vacuum pack here, slimes, chickens, vegetables, fruits, and you can shoot them out as well. And you're just corralling them into areas where they need to be. The game starts you off here, but then you will expand upon a few areas that are paywalled. So you need to have a currency that you can unlock them with. I've unlocked those 3. I'll show you the slimes. I'm going to take you out, Chase, where the game first introduces you to like finding slimes. So you can see 2 just popped up there.
When you said paywall, oh yeah, there's some slimes. When you said paywall, you mean just in-game currency?
Yeah, in-game currency.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a couple carrots here, and you can see that these slimes, these are the pink slime. This is like the most generic slime in the game. So I just picked up the pink slime. Currently, I can hold up to 30 items in each one of my little vacuum packs there. So I could come out here and say, like, you know what? I want to get all these pink slimes, which is what you would want to do at the beginning of a Slime Rancher game, because pink slimes they will eat fruits, vegetables, meat, and they will produce the lowest currency, pink plort, right here. So I've got 3 of those already, but they're going to start to eat what's naturally around them. So I've got a couple carrots, and I would just like keep running around. Bottom left corner, you can take damage. I've increased my health and also your stamina. Stamina is depleted whenever you are running or using your jetpack, which you unlock through upgrades later in the game. We'll talk more about that back at the house. There is a day-night cycle.
What's hurting you?
There's
why do you
slime.
have health? What hurts you? Okay,
Yeah.
there are slimes that hurt you.
There are slimes that like will unintentionally hurt you. So, hey, they're literally on fire, so that burns you. There's other ones that are just more spiky, and in their nature, they're kind of aggressive. Think more like you're playing with a dog and it kind of nips you, and like it's not meaning to do it, but like it happens. And then there's certain slimes that become tars, and they're more of like a dangerous mutation. That's also something I want to call out here. So if you come up to your settings and you go over to gameplay, where's that at? Here we go. Nope, that's not the one. You can basically turn that off, by the way. I'm trying to find where that would be at here. Yeah, right here. So you can turn off.
Damage. I see.
So you can turn off the tars in the game. You can also turn off feral slimes, and you can actually change the player damage. So if you just wanted to come in and have like a pretty cozy experience, you're not going to be penalized for doing so. That's all here in the options, something that I think should be celebrated. Play the game how you want to play it. Yeah. So now we're seeing more slimes out here. There's a new one. This is actually a new slime for Slime Rancher 2, and that is that cotton slime. Now, you probably see... I do. And you see how that happened there.
Yeah, I can't. A cotton pink Largo.
Yes, I can't. A Largo is too big for my tank, but I can get it stuck in the nozzle. So what's happened is that this cotton slime here has eaten the plort of a pink slime, and now it's mutated. So the cool thing about this, and we're going to talk more about it when we get back to my garden area, that slime is going to forever put out both a cotton plort and a pink plort. So it's capable, anytime it's fed what it likes, you're gonna get 2 off of that. But
that's pretty valuable.
It's valuable. If that would eat one more plort that is not a pink plort or a cotton plort, it will mutate into a tar and become a problem. So that's something to keep in mind when you do this. Now, we've been out here for a bit. I've got a fruit and a vegetable. So I could take just one of those fruits, and we're gonna head back to the main area that I've been kind of keeping my slimes for the time being. I would have enough right now, just like starting the game off, to have 19 pink slimes that I would put into a cage, and then I could turn in these pink plorts up here. So they're currently down, only worth 6, but for this, I'm not going to worry too much about that. You just shoot them into these plort collectors, and you get the money for it. And now, what's that?
A plort?
A plort, absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
And then over here, you can see that I'm growing these cubed berries here, and I could change that out and shoot this pogo fruit into it. And if you go into the Slimepedia, you can see based off of what you are getting, hey, this is a carrot, or this one that I have right now, this pogo fruit. It's not a preferred fruit by anything. So this is like a very generic early game fruit. Same with carrots. But if you got something more like a water lettuce, you could see, hey, those cotton slimes, they prefer that. And so if you feed a slime its preferred fruit or vegetable, it's going to produce double the plorts each time it eats it. So let's see what that looks like in practice. So I've got my areas kind of designed to be, hey, these are going to be, the area that we're going to is more like fruits and veggie focused. So I've got a bunch of different slimes that I keep in these big cages here. And anytime you have a like ranch or survival type game, my advice to anybody would be you need to automate as quickly as possible. Because when you first start the game, I need to go out, I need to harvest all the fruit, I need to then get the plorts. And that would mean like walking in here with everything, trying to get the plorts. And like, I'm not getting hurt. They can't escape this. But
look at these gross boys.
These are little honey slimes. They're pretty cute.
They're filthy.
Little dirty boys. Over here, I can then create a feeding station where I'm putting their preferred fruit or vegetable or meat into this. And then I have an automatic plort picker-upper. So then if I wanted those things, now I don't have to feed them their favorite. They're going to produce less, like this pogo fruit. I could shoot that in there, and they're going to eat it, and you're going to see that they're going to start producing plorts. Same thing for these carrots. Enjoy the. Oh, they're not going to eat those though, because if you see it, they say fruit up above their name. So I'd want to. I want to get those picked up here.
I also will not eat vegetables.
Fair,
that's not exactly true, but I prefer not to.
So these pink slimes that I have, again, they'll eat anything. So I'm just giving them carrots. And I mentioned earlier, I've got the cotton slimes over here. So now
So you say you're working on automation, or that's something you should prioritize. But are you still having to manually throw the carrots and fruit into these things, or do you have a way to? Okay.
So
do you think there's eventually a way to say, hey, these carrots are growing, and then they will automatically be sent to these pens to then feed the slimes?
I don't think so, no. But
okay.
Again, I've got it now. I don't need these pink slimes, by the way. So sorry. We're just gonna.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also these bunnies, we don't need them either. Okay.
Do slimes swim?
Some do. Not those though.
Wow. You just saw murder on a grand scale.
You can also build.
You could have put them out anywhere, and you chose to kill them.
I did, yeah, but it's part of the game. It's part of the ranching. Sometimes the ranch gets you, and sometimes you get the ranch.
Let me ask you this: you also have 30. What is that? Water in your pack?
Yeah, that's something that you can upgrade later on.
Okay.
So that is the easiest way to get rid of tars, and
okay.
So I can switch over to water, and that's one of the cool things. So like in the first game, it took a long time for you. You had to have like 10,000 currency to unlock the ability to like use tools and some of these upgrades. So down here is like this big base, which is I think really awesome. You're gonna find these pods out in the world, and when you do that, that's gonna unlock upgrades and other things that you can use for like decorations around your areas. So over here, if I go into the refinery, these are the different plorts and things that you can find, like resources out in the wild. And it's designed that you'll be putting them into it because you're going to use these in your upgrades. There's going to be spots in the world where you can deposit as well, so you don't have to always come back to your spot. And then over here, this is the fabricator, and this is where you're going to unlock the upgrades for your gear. So like I've increased my heart, which is my health, stamina. I've also increased my dash. I just found the module for a jetpack 2. So I've got the money for it. I've got the plorts. I need to find more wild honey, and I need to get some more radiant ore. I have a really great phosphor plort output production right now, so I just need to get 10 more and not sell them and bring them over here. But then I could upgrade this and get a really great 20% less energy used, but double the fun. So that's a big one. The other thing is an extra tank. So that's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down there at the bottom. I would be able to add another spot down there just by increasing these. So again, I've got most of it already. That'll be pretty handy. But I can add certain things in here. So if I wanted to create some bait, maybe I had this in an area where chickens would naturally just come into an environment where I wouldn't have to worry as much. So what you asked about earlier, hey, maybe I could build something in an area where slimes that eat chickens would bring them in there. This is a portable water tap. This is an area where I can create a spring that would allow me to refill that water tank that I have. Same thing here. This is going to allow me to just chill any feral slimes out when it hears it. So if I'm in an area where I'm trying to harvest something in the wild, I could build these things and then put them out. So if I hit this, which is called gadget mode, this is where you can find, like all over the world, like if I hit T when I'm out there, like I can just find a spot to put things like that down. So I don't have anything currently built to do, but that's I really appreciate the fabrication aspect of like, you're taking more than just like raising slimes and all this stuff. Like you're finding ways to like increase your productivity and your ability to do things in the world. Like the jetpack is arguably one of the most important things you can get. It's like when I jump, it's using my energy. So if I've been running, I'm not going to have a lot of stamina, but if I give it a few seconds like I am right now,
right,
then I can reach some new heights.
when you opened up that, or when you, I don't know what you did, but it showed you a few spaces where you could put a thing. Is that what this game is, where it doesn't give you total freedom to just build anything anywhere? Is it just predetermined plots? Like when you built this garden, was there already a space of saying, hey, you can put a thing here, you can choose whether it's a garden or a pen or whatever,
Yeah.
but there can be a thing here, or can you put that garden anywhere?
Yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about there. So whenever you first start, you had 2 spots, and whenever you are expanding, you can see these gray blocks on the map. That means that those are areas that can be any. So like this area can have 5 spots. So I've got this filled up right now. These are like the meat eaters, by the way. All these guys down here eat a lot of meat, so I've got some chickens there for them. But down here, so like I had to pay to get this spot open, then I had to pay again to get this one. And I haven't done a ton down here yet, but if I come down to this location, you're gonna see that I've got a few spots that I can show you exactly what you're talking about. So like this is what a plot would look like before you do anything with it. So when I come up to it, you can make it
I see. Okay.
or a garden, a coop, a silo, this incinerator, or a pond. Now there's 2 really like I think kind of odd slimes, which these are just straight fire slimes. They can't exist. Like if I would just take one of them and put them out here like in a normal coop, it wouldn't work out well. They live at the bottom of this incinerator, and when I put things into it, they're going to feed off of that. So if I took some of these heartbeats and shot that in there, that's going to come down, and you're going to see that they're going to start to produce these just straight up fire plorts. So there's that, and then over here, I've built this pond where I've got these water slimes as well. And they're just gonna stay and like straight up produce because they're in an area that they love. So that's really it. Like you can choose how you want to do it. You can also, maybe I had a corral there or I had a garden. I don't want that any longer. I want it to be a coop. You can remove whatever it is and change that out. So you have complete freedom to make this whatever you'd like it to be. I found another species of hen on one of the last adventures, so I'm trying to start to breed more of them, and I've already got a few starting here. So like this will be overran before you know it.
Sure.
So we're getting into nighttime, and at night you've got a few things that happen. One, you're going to get different slimes that come out, which is cool because there's certain slimes that can only be productive in the dark. And what I've done to accommodate that, back here at my land, one of the areas that you can unlock is this little cave. So we're going to check that out, and then I'm going to go back out into the open and show you one more thing there.
Is this like... Yeah, I think about a game like Bug Snacks, and the original Slime Rancher came out before Bug Snacks, so it's not like they are ripping this idea off or anything, but in Bug Snacks, when you found the snacks, there would sometimes be little puzzles around how to catch them. You had to distract them, or you had to knock them out before you could collect the snacks. Is there something similar here in Slime Rancher, where sometimes it's a little bit of a puzzle or a guessing game to figure out, okay, I need to, maybe you need to douse this fire slime before it incinerates or whatever. Like, are there things that you need to do to catch these slimes, or is it more just, hey, I need to find them, and the puzzle is finding them, like whether it's dark or whether it's in a specific space?
It's more about the location. Like okay. You've been able to unlock based off of like what you've achieved in the game. Like you've got the backpack that has hovering now, so you can get to that area and find these slimes. These guys are a little funny because if it's daytime or if they're in the light, they're a statue, and I didn't know that.
Oh, the Tanuki style. Okay.
Yeah. So I like the Largos. Whenever I was carrying it, I happened to just walk into a cave and it like disappeared. I'm like, what the hell? And I turned around and it was alive, and I was able to suck it into the vacuum here, and that's why I have it down here in the cave. Now, I could, if I didn't have this cave unlocked, which at one point I didn't, you can come over here and you can do a solar shield. So you can actually make it to where when you go into it, which I had earlier, it would be like dark in here for them, so you could have them in the daytime. These over
Do you
here,
have an opposite one where it's like it can simulate daylight in a cave?
I don't have that, no.
Okay.
But But that's a good idea, Chase. I like where your head's at. You're already learning. See, you're an expert slime rancher. I'm gonna see if I can
tell me.
I'm gonna see if I can find. I want to show you a tar and just kind of show you what some of these bad situations look like. You can go to bed anytime you want to in advance time. So if you want it to be night, you can go in there and say, hey, advance it till evening. Let me drop these things off really quick and then we'll head out. So I have an absurd amount of money, in my opinion. Like I'm basically just printing money. Like I've set up a very efficient, I've upgraded everything to where my fruits and veggies grow at a super high rate. Same with my chickens. I spent a lot of the 11
It seems
hours.
like the money is less important now, though. Like now it's more that you're looking for specific plorts and specific materials so you can craft the various upgrades.
Yes, and I think there's a spot down here that I can show you that might have like what one of those things in the wild look like, because there are resources that you're going to need to get. Let's see here. Maybe it's up there. I don't know if it's up there or not. All right, yeah, this is going to get to a feral area so you can see some of the dangers. So it'll let you know when you're, see how those have like this bad look to them? They're gonna hurt me, so I'm taking damage right now. And I'll just need to like get them out of the way. So there's not a whole lot you can do with ferals besides just what I'm doing right now to clear a path. So this would allow me to kind of explore new areas. Ah, look at this. We're gonna find something new. So let's go check that out.
Is a feral slime always feral, or is it just, hey, this one has an attitude for a bit and you can calm it down and then it's fine?
Well, that bell, that I could put that bell out there and that would calm them down, so I could explore that area without having to worry about it if I wanted to.
But if you took that slime and had it in a pen, would it then always stay calm, or it will go back to being feral because that's its natural?
It would be feral unless I had that bell there.
Got it.
So upgrade your vacuum very early in the game. It takes like next to nothing because once you upgrade it, you're able to take these resources. So I just got what's this one called? Deep brine, which this stuff is going to be a little bit harder to find in the game than the slimes, and that's going to be some of your later game upgrades are going to be dependent upon it. But hey, check it out. We found a new pod, and this is going to get me something that I can use back at the homestead. Ooh, a set of 2 gadgets that allow you to remotely transfer resources between 2 points. Look at that. That's really, actually, I'm really fucking happy about that.
That sounds very nice.
It is. So this was just an area that we were able to come and explore. If you fall in the water, you do pass out and you lose anything that you're carrying and you start the next day. Just a heads up. Buddy, I shouldn't have done
Bobby.
that. You shouldn't have done that.
Wow.
So this is kind of interesting. What's going on up here?
Yeah.
Maybe not anything too super interesting. Well, we're back on track. So you can find little things like this in the game. You know, I will say that the game has done a pretty good job of rewarding curiosity. Like if you can get to an area and you don't mind fighting off some of these ferals like we just did, you're gonna find a pretty all right time. Let me show you now that I'm away from those things. So you can see that there's still some clouds in this region over here. But you can see that there's this dotted line that comes from it. So there's going to be some puzzles in the game that you need to do to unlock the travel to these other parts of the islands. And when you get there, you're going to find wayfinders that you can just open up that clear that fog off of your map so you can see things on your map. Like, oh yeah, I remember I was over here. You can also see like how many pods you've unlocked in that area. So 5 of the 14. Yeah, man, like I don't want to like show too much of the stuff that people would unlock, like some of those other islands that I just highlighted there, because there's some new slimes and it's really exciting. Oh, you're gonna find these drones, and there are some cool story bits that you're gonna learn. If I go back to my spot really quick, I can show you. Look at that big boy. Bye. He's okay. See, he's just coming there with us.
Sure.
If we come back to this location,
Well, while you're doing that, let me ask you another question here.
Yeah.
So I have never played Slime Rancher 1. How different is what you're doing here and what you've shown me from the original? Does it feel like they've really added on a lot of stuff to it?
They've added in some new slime types for sure. And then all the stuff that you're kind of working towards in the first game, like this is almost like a new game plus. And I can tell you that this game is gorgeous in comparison. The other one wasn't anything to like turn your nose up at, but sure. It's a beautiful game. The other one was made in 2017. They've used that time to really polish how this game looks. But it is something where I would say you get like all the gadgets and the fabricator and all that stuff. Like you start a good portion of that first game without having those things. They've streamlined a lot of the game. They have gamified the upgrades a lot more. Like you have to work harder for it. This communicator, which is what I was coming back to show you, because this is going to bring some folks up from the first game. You can see that there's some notifications here and somebody new. If I talk to them, this is where you're going to get some blueprints or you're going to get more of the story. So there we just received ash blooms. So these are things that like as you progress your game and you unlock new things, it's gonna be like, oh, by the way, you've shown that you know what you're doing here. We're gonna give you something that you can use to decorate with. So if I wanted to start and adding like ambergrass, I could hit T here and like I could start to add things like that. If I wanted to build it out like this here, I could flowers grow near lava flows to take on burning hue of the magma. It's like I don't really need that here, but I could put that if I wanted to. Okay. I would say that the first game's phenomenal, and so if you're asking like, hey, should I just play the first game or should I pick this one up? This is still being developed. There's going to be stuff that gets added into it. I will say it feels pretty damn robust for being like the very first early access portion of this. Like I have not.
This is not what I usually think of when I think of early access.
No, not at all, man. Like this to me feels like very, very feature rich. I haven't seen much of a roadmap either. I'm like, well, what are they like? What's still happening? I haven't seen in areas like, hey, come back later. This is under construction. Like, it's pretty fucking complete in my opinion. There's some really cool stuff here, and they've got a huge. Like, I know the developers came out and said that they're kind of pie in the sky, like what they would hope to see from a sales perspective happen for this game was crushed within the first 24 hours of the game being released in early access. So it's sitting at an overwhelmingly positive on Steam. People are really enjoying it, and I am one of those people. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It scratches that Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley part of my brain. I really like the art style, and I don't think like other games like Stardew and even at times I think Animal Crossing is pretty manageable. I know that like I'm throwing a lot at you right now with all this stuff, but for the most part, I think this game is very approachable. And if you've never played a game like a Harvest Moon or any of those other ones I mentioned, this is probably a really safe one to start with. And they do some things here that I feel kind of ease you into the upkeep. And you don't have to be a wild sicko like me. You don't have to min-max anything. Like you can just take your time and raise a few things. Like I'm getting ready to make hybrid slimes all throughout my farm. I mentioned that at the early start of this episode. Like I'm going to start combining them to where I'm getting like that return. So like because you'll see when I have these feeders set up out here. So I went back to this location where we were. It's like these rock slimes. Like I could easily bring a pink plort over there and just combine those two, which in the first game, like these guys and your pink ones are who you run into first. So if I put one pink slime in here, it's going to eat that and become a hybrid. And then now I've got this location because you can see I'm completely full on my rock plorts. I could then have it also collecting the pink ones here. And then I could do something similar over there. So I could start to really free up space and not have to have it so precise here. Like, okay, this is only my cotton one. This is only that. Then it becomes, I get a lot more return on each one of those areas. So in theory, I have 5 spots here. Well, I go from getting 5 different types of plorts to getting 10. So things to think about. But there's also, if anything would get loose and eat it, like that becomes a tar problem, and then you're really fucked. So this is Slime Rancher 2. It's a beautiful game. It's a very relaxing game. It's a great place to spend your time, in my opinion. I don't think we talked about the cost. I think it's $30 in early access.
It is $30 on Steam. It is only available on Windows PC at the moment. There's also a game and soundtrack bundle that is at least currently 10% off for about $36. And in terms of the early access, what they're saying is that they think it'll be in early access for about 18 months, and that they're just gonna throw in more slimes, more resources, more gadgets, more places. It just seems like there's gonna be more of everything. But they also said that they don't see the full price of the game changing once it reaches full release. So if you're a little weary about that $30 price tag, maybe you can wait until the game is more full featured. But again, like Bobby said, and like we've seen here, it seems like it's pretty feature rich already.
There's so much here, and if I'm not mistaken, I do think the first one's on everything. So if you don't have if you're watching this and you're like, man, I would really like to play it, but I don't have a PC, I think you can play the first one on even the Switch. So I might be wrong.
I know there's a Switch version. Yeah, let me look through. Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Yeah, it's basically on everything.
So I would say grab that. You can find it on sale a lot of times, and just let them work on the game. And then by the time you've spent your 18 months loving Slime Rancher, you'll be ready for Slime Rancher 2. And that's the beauty of it. So there's a Slime Rancher for everybody right now. If you have the ability to check this one out, I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this chase. I love this game, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it on our podcast, Casual Hour, at some point in time when I return, and whenever we get to our Game of the Year stuff. But if you like this, subscribe to our channel. We do quick looks twice a week. We also play games like this live on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/casual hour. We play Mondays and Friday nights. And then if you want to hang out with us while we talk about those games we like so much, every Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. Central, we record our podcast, Casual Hour, with our other co-host, Johnny. And then we push that out every Friday morning, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a great time. We have a lot of fun. We really like video games, and we hope you do too. So come back, hang out with us wherever you see fit. Chase, it's been a good time. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for showing us off.